See, I've been sitting up here.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Three-Headed Monster Podcast coming to you live. I'm live in Philadelphia. I'm Brother Brian, the Silverback, aka Silverback, the majestic one. It's funny when I say that, my wife look at me like, "Oh my God."
Right.
So today's topic, we mourning and grieving and mourning, something that a lot of people don't really know how to deal with, or a lot of people don't know how to. We haven't been taught how to deal with it, or how to even the proper way of doing it, or it wasn't been passed down from generation to generations, or you can say what our ancestors used to do, because again, us us native or indigenous people, we kind of lost our culture. So um, that's something I want to talk about. Because it's deep, especially in the black community. It is really something that a lot of people have a lot of problems trying to overcome. So, um, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there to anybody. Thank you for watching. Like, share, you know, comment, please comment. We love people to comment on our podcast. So, um, hey, show us love and we show you love back. So, what's going on, brother Jerome? Talk to me.
Man, what's going on, brother? All is well. Um, what's up, Facebook family? What's up, YouTube family? Hope everybody's well. Um, yeah, this is gonna be an interesting topic today. But as always, everything that we talk about is strictly our opinions, gathered from the facts that we gather. Um, don't believe anything that we tell you. Take take what you hear. Take the information. Go find it for yourself. Go study it for yourself. Come back and let's politic. Let's talk. Let's go forward. Um, I guess you already introduced yourself, B. So, AKA the Silverback.
The silverback, the majestic one. People need to understand what a silverback is. A lot of people don't. You need to do your research. Research
Right.
silverback and research the history and how it is. Because for one, you ain't gonna run up on the silverback anyway, because you already know it's a wrap. But that's a whole different thing. So I have I have a team now. I have a team now that's going to help me out now with my notes and stuff like that. My lovely wife, um, aka wife, she,
Okay, why?
she dropped me down some notes and stuff to talk about, because grieving is something, or mourning. I mean, actually, we need to put the definition of which one is which so we can understand, you know, the difference of it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, simply for me, grieving is what happens internally. Mourning is what happened externally.
ooh,
Uh,
damn, Drone just gonna drop it like that. It's gonna just drop it like that. But I think a lot of people don't know. I think our community, and when I
mhm.
say our community, I mean blacks, Negro, you know, colored. We don't do what we used to do, say in the 30s, 1930s, 40s, and 50s, as a community come together to help the loved people who has a lost one grieve and go through the mourning process. Now, the reason why I'm doing this because actually one of my close friends' birthday is coming up who passed away last year, and dealing with that and watching is you know sometimes you just don't know how to grieve because you don't know what to do or what you have to do. Now, once one of the things that I dealt with my grieving and mourning is I actually when my dad passed, I actually went to therapy because that was traumatic, wasn't expecting it, and it happened, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And a lot of people just don't know how to deal with things because we're told to move on, keep it moving, you know, you'll see him when you get to heaven or you'll see him in the next life. And is that true? Because a lot of times we can't really. No, I mean, I'm saying that in a sense of we only going by. I mean, biblical. You'll meet them in heaven, but at the
Well,
same
wait a
time,
minute, hold on. Where does it say that in the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
no. I mean, or Christianity. I take that back.
Okay.
That's something that we've been taught. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna see my mom, knowing that is this. That's a whole different topic because I'm telling
Right,
you now,
right, right.
we it's probably gonna get some dishes thrown at me at this table, and I'm not
But
trying to.
I think that's one of the things why we don't grieve properly, why we don't mourn properly, is because of certain uh, systems that we've learned growing up. Um, I don't think we properly acknowledge death and the process of death, the process of life. Um, I think it's a lot of processes that we don't. The only time you think about death is when somebody's dying. We don't prepare for it. Where most of our community don't. You can tell that by when they die, why you have to gather up people to get money to bury somebody. Obviously you didn't think about the process of death and that it was coming.
Wow, that is big. That is big, and that's another. That's one thing. Or understanding when that person dies, their spirit is not there no more. So now the body is just there, and we go through the hoop and the hollering, the crying, which is hard. It's hard to deal with life. It's hard to deal with somebody's death that's been a major part in your life. But then at the same time, what do you do? Because I mean, the only thing that I think about when it comes to when my dad passed or when anybody passed, I try to think of the positive things the impact that they had and the positive things that they brought forth. I don't have to look at the negative because everybody has a negative point in their life that you might, be like, yeah, but this person was this. But then it's like, what impact did they do if
Right.
that person was close to you? Now, if the person wasn't, you kind of be like, okay. Or I have heard the dead bury the dead. I have heard that terminology too in Christianity. And it's sad when you say that because who's dead and who's alive?
That's let the dead bury the dead.
My
They
bad.
was talking
Let the
about a
dead
different
bury the
concept.
dead.
Yeah, they were talking about it was something totally different. But that is a term. I, one thing that I noticed big is
Uh-huh.
that we talk about grief, right? I
Mhm.
think now, especially nowadays, I don't think it's a lot of grief more than guilt. I think I see I think I see people with more guilt than grief. What they should have done with that person, what they should have said to that person. Um, you know, I should have gave them their flowers while they were alive. That's the talk you get. I don't. Us as a community, I don't think we relate to each other like we used to. You know,
True.
those things that made us a community. Those things that made us a village, if you will. If it takes a village to raise a child, then we have to be a village first, right?
True.
So
True.
I think we've lost that village mentality. because a village would mourn the death of someone, but now it has to be immediate family, or it's like, well, such and such died. Oh yeah, did it? Oh wow, and then move on. You
And
know,
all I know with that is the corona. This whole corona, my bad. This whole virus situation got people not able to be able to grieve and be with that person and be able to say goodbye
when
because
you talk about to mourn with them
yes.
or mourn with the family, yeah, 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 yeah.
So we
We
so
don't we don't properly handle our emotions, so we can't properly grieve. We don't. Our community has been through so much trauma for the last few hundred years, and nobody has dealt with the trauma that's happened to our this in our lives and the continual trauma that we still have.
we keep pushing on generation to generation.
Right. Not just pushing on the actual thing that's causing the trauma is still
Uh-huh,
around,
uh-huh.
and that we don't deal with it.
Now, another reason why is because after my father-in-law passed,
Right.
and but it's also a culture thing too. Culture is another big thing that a lot of people have to understand. Okay, why am I getting a phone call while I'm doing a podcast? So I'm sorry. Um, yeah, let me turn it off but I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. It's not professional, Brian. This is not professional.
Yeah, I thought you had a team. Your team gonna have to
My team, see,
tighten up.
you didn't even jump in. Sit here on the phone playing a video game. That's what my team does for me. She probably gonna call you too. She probably gonna call you too. Anyway, culture wise, and the reason why I say culture wise is because when my father-in-law passed, um, I didn't have to because but the immediate family, like my wife, her sister, her
Well,
brother.
first, B, tell them what culture your wife is coming from.
Actually, babe, what culture would I consider you? French Caribbean, Haitian descent, Haitian. Yeah, I'm gonna say Haitian. Haitian, more of a Haitian culture. Um, they had to wear black every day for a year as a sign of mourning. And oh shit, you just dropped off the face of the earth on me. What the hell? But that's something that, huh? No, but that's something that her culture did. And when I watched that happen, and when every day I asked my wife, "Why you always got to wear black?" And it was like, this is part of the mourning process of my father, keeping him in remembrance and things like that. So different cultures have different things. So that I watched that. And how long did your mom wear hers? She did hers for how long? 6 months. So wearing black every day as a sign of mourning. We kind of pass when somebody died in our family. We probably just be like, all right, funeral over with. All right, let's figure out what else we do next. So we kind of in the black community kind of push people along and be like, all right, who's next? Which is sad because we don't properly show the respect of the person that we just
Yeah,
lost.
that's what I was about to get at. It's a sign of respect.
Yeah. So she said the Eastern Orthodox Christians do 40 days of mourning. The Islamic community is 4 months and 10 days that they mourn. The Jewish is 1 year. So it based on community, it bases on culture
On religion.
or religion. I'm trying to keep religion out because religion
You,
gonna get me. The religion
you
gonna get
just
me.
named several religions,
I
right?
know,
Right?
I know, I know.
So,
People get,
you didn't
but
name 8 people, you named their religion.
people get hurt. But it's How do we deal with it? Because a lot of times, like again, talking to someone. Let me see. Let me see what I got. How to cope with it, losing someone. Let me just see. Let me pull this up. My wife said a show off. Yes, I am. Alrighty. Let me know if you see the drum.
I see it.
Alrighty. Talk about death of a loved one. Actually, sharing and just talking about all the good things about helping understanding what happens to remember your friend or family member. Avoidance can lead to isolation that would disrupt the healing process with your support system. So we got to talk about it. A lot
Right.
of people don't like to talk about it. They like to hold it in, and it's literally going to destroy you mentally, emotionally, mentally, and then the physical part is going to start happening because you're causing so much stress upon yourself that we
Right.
just don't know how to deal with it. All
Right.
righty. Accepting your feelings. You may experience a wide range. Okay, my bad, my bad. Where did I get this information from? The American Psychological Association.
Association.
Okay, is that good, man? Okay. Sometimes I have to tell where I get this information from. You may experience a large range of emotion from sadness, anger, to even exhaustion. All of these feelings are normal, and it's important to recognize when you're feeling this way. If you feel stuck or overwhelmed with these emotions, you may helpful to talk with a licensed psychologist or a mental health professional who can help you cope with these feelings and find ways to back get you back on track. That's something in the black community that we don't want to do.
What's that?
Talk to talk to a
Therapist.
professional. Not that we'll take it to a religious leader, and I'm gonna leave that one alone. But I rather talk to somebody who literally that's their job
Right.
because you take a certain bias out of the picture. Because I don't want to talk to you and you don't know me. So your job is to listen to me, and then you give me whatever aspects you think for me to help me cope with it. Other than that, I don't want to go because you sometimes you'll go to somebody who don't know how to deal with that, and they give you the wrong information, which will spiral you into another situation.
Who are you talking about?
No, because if you get your advice from the wrong people, um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's on anything though. You right.
so
Wrong people.
well, if I pay you and you give me the wrong information, it's gonna be some problems. That's
Right.
but I mean some certain friends or certain people that you trust that's not who sometimes can use your emotions against you. I don't want you if I'm talking to you, I don't want you to be agreeing to everything I say. I want you to be straight up with me and tell me, you should do this and do that. A real friend will really tell you what's real versus I don't need a support group to just tell me, yeah, I understand, you're right. That doesn't do nothing for me
Right.
because you still helping me deal with it. You're not helping me, you're just keeping the bleeding going. What you got to say on that one?
I mean, I totally agree with these steps, these processes. I think they're very needed. I think when you talk about it as a community, um, I think when we talk about our trauma or trauma that has happened to us, I don't think a lot of people know how to articulate their feelings and what they're going through. Um, it would help to have a professional guide you through it, but you don't really have that for a community. You know what I'm saying? So a community, when they try to speak out, there's always somebody telling you, "Well, it wasn't that bad." You know, well, history wasn't like that. Why are you always bringing that back up? Y'all should let that go. Y'all should forget about it. Well, if it's traumatic, you can't just let it go. You can't just forget about it. It's gonna always be there. and it has to be discussed. It has to be worked through.
It has to be solved
It has
or
to be
come to a
solved.
conclusion.
You got to
Closure.
find
Closure.
closure
Closure.
for it. And that's huge when you talk about a community that has to find closure.
Oh, for instance, like when Dr. King died, we
Right.
wasn't here. I don't know about you. I know my ass wasn't here. I'm just messing with you. But once that happened, how did the community was able to deal with it? It was kind of like move on.
Right.
It was kind of like how can you move on when you had an icon that big just got shot on live TV,
Right.
like right there in front of you, and
Hold on. What you mean on live TV?
was it on like that? Was it on TV?
You talking about the president, right?
No, what? Who, Kennedy?
Yeah.
I'm talking about no. I'm talking about Dr. King.
It wasn't on live TV. He was at his hotel.
All right, well,
They took pictures.
that's another thing. How the hell you taking pictures of somebody that just got shot? But that's a whole different story. That's a whole different story. Because I mean, if I get shot, you're not gonna be there to sit there and give me a photography and give. I mean, anyway, we're gonna get off of that, but not on live TV. Thank you for correcting me, my brother. But how was it?
Bringing light to it.
But how is it that the community, the black community, was able to cope with that? That's an emotion. That's a scar.
But truthfully, did they cope with it? Did they get over it? Did we mourn? Because the reason why I say that is if you think about the 60s,
Hmm.
I mean, they were killing leaders left and right. I'm not talking about the government. And the government has admitted to the assassination of King.
Which is
So,
crazy.
so they committed all these assassinations in the black community.
Hmm.
That's why you don't see strong black leaders come out because nobody dealt with it. So that trauma, that fear is still in our community. You don't see that rise, that person that actually can galvanize the black community anymore.
True that, and it's sad because it's out of the fear of they're gonna. It's always a fear they're gonna do something to discredit you, no matter what, or
Oh yeah,
especially if you bring the truth. Yeah, you already know that you got a red dot on your head. So
exactly.
are we going to ever get out of that fear? Especially us as indigenous people who are knowing the truth of who we are,
Right,
which is even more dangerous now than anything
right,
because they quickly want to discredit you if you start saying you indigenous. I'm entitled to this because you stolen land. The history that you've been teaching us is wrong. That's another thing that we can't, that's hard to cope because we don't know what's true and what's not true. So any information that we get brought forth is questionable. So when
and
you don't have a baseline,
right, and
um,
that's the whole point, right? Any information can be misinformation, right? And so if you always have misinformation, you don't really know they keep you confused to what your history is, right?
but that's in the community itself. When people, let's say for instance, if something happened to me, you might have something good to say about me. Somebody else gonna have something bad to say about me. But then you're gonna be like, well, what is true and what's not true? In other words,
Right,
you can't judge a person by their character no more. You always got to dig up. In other words, they don't let you evolve into something bigger. They always got to keep you at your lower state.
right,
You know what I'm saying? In other words, if you this is my thing. If you're the same person that you was 10 years ago, that means you actually accomplished nothing in life because that means you didn't evolve in any way. You stayed in a you like a plane that's just constantly waiting to land. You just gonna go around in circles and circles. So I hated that they hold some of the worst things against you when you are done. and never give you your flowers while you're here. They want to give
Right.
you they want to give you dead roses. They don't want to give you they it's like some people wish you was dead
Right.
just to laugh or just to not say laugh but be like, well, he wasn't nothing anyway.
Right.
Which is our community will turn their back on each other. Period. But you brought up in Christianity, you shouldn't be like that. You should love your brother as you love yourself. Where's the love?
See, that's the contradiction, right?
Damn, I did
Because
another one. I did another contradiction.
it's supposed to be based in love. But the thing is, there's a separation. There's those that are believers, and then there are non-believers, right? So there's always, we cannot be equally yoked, right? So there's always this,
Yeah, we're not equally yoked.
if you don't believe what I believe, then you're up under me, and you're not worthy, you know. And I'm saying that's the feeling. I'm not saying that's what's taught. Um, so when you have that kind of division, you have division within Christianity. There's so many denominations,
There's so many
different
damn
ways,
churches.
different ways to believe the same thing. And it's always division, which I don't understand.
So we're not taught to learn how to grieve or mourn. Basically.
No, to learn how to grieve, you have to learn how to deal with the emotions that you have on the inside. You have to properly put things in perspective. That's just like, how can the black community ever learn how to grieve when all little boys are taught that they shouldn't cry?
Hush up. Suck it up. Be tough.
Right. Be tough. A man don't cry. So if a man don't cry, then a man can't properly grieve.
I mean, he can cry in his own.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you can't
I
cry,
ain't crying in front of you, Jerome.
I'm not asking you to cry in front of me.
I'm not
You can
crying in
cry
front
in
of you.
your own
I'm not
space.
crying in front of you.
But see, we're taught that if you do cry, it makes you less than a man. I never understood.
It's a sign of weakness.
Yeah, I never understood that terminology, less than a man. If you're a man, you're a man. You're a woman, you're a woman.
Because, like you said, we're not taught to deal with our emotions.
Right.
Everything needs to be compressed until we burst, and then we burst, we spaz out, and most people be
That's
like,
right.
"Why? Why are you? Why are you like this?" And it's like, because I haven't been taught how to deal with me.
Right. And the thing with, if we can, with emotion, we've been taught like emotions are states that we stay in for moments, right? But that's
Mhm.
not what emotions are. Emotions are not these states that we stay in. Emotions are these tools that point out things in your life. The reason why you're sad, there because there was a traumatic event. So you need to deal with that event to keep you from feeling that sadness. The reason why you're angry is because something is contradiction to what you're trying to do. So you need to figure that out so you won't be angry. You
Mhm.
know, happiness comes from how you assess things from your inside to the out. You know, these are tools. Emotions are tools to help us as adults, as humans, to guide through life. They're not places to stay. You don't stay in anger. You don't stay in sadness. You don't stay in jealousy. You know what I'm saying? They-
Something you want to share?
what
I don't know. Was you agreeing? Was you agreeing? She's agreeing with you. She ain't
what
agreeing with me, but she agreeing with you.
well, thank you. Tell her thank you. But anyway, we don't know how to properly deal with our emotions and how to use them properly in our lives. Um,
Or
and I
communicate.
say that
Or
I know I'm
communicate.
generalizing, but this is my
I mean,
experience.
no, you're not doing it. That's an important part because emotion is the main part of it. because
Yeah.
you would keep it. It's kind of like a pipe that's about to burst, and it's just so much pressure on it, and then when you snap, it's it just is. Sometimes you can't come back,
Mm. You can't put the water back in the pipe.
or if you don't know how to find the proper place to get it patched up.
Right.
So a lot of times, I mean, I don't mind going to therapy. I mean, actually, I love going to therapy because
But I bet you wasn't when you first started.
Mm-mm.
when, huh?
When you first started, when you had to go to therapy in the beginning, was it something that was like, yeah, I want to go to therapy? Or was it like,
No, no, no. Actually, it was more of like, why do I need it?
right, that's what I'm saying.
Or
It's,
why?
you
What is it
developed.
going to do to help me?
Right.
Um, until I went, because I sometimes when a lot of times it's, from one is depression that you probably you deal with depression or you're going to deal with anxiety, have that anxiety effects, which will even cause you to even have more rage, more anger, because you don't know how to release whatever tension that you have within yourself. So, you know, I wish that you didn't have to pay for a therapist. I wish therapists will just, in the you have therapists in the community to help people deal with it. Would just, but I mean, everybody has to make a living because we're in a capitalist country, and that's what we do. But that's something that would help our people and not be afraid to talk. Now, talking to somebody who's actually, you could say, can understand your experience as a person of color, you know, that's greatly me going against somebody that don't know. Nah, because you don't know. You gonna only go by what you read, and we already know your studies is going to be false. So, which is true. Who understands the experience other than the person that dealt with the experience to a certain extent?
I get you that. I know where you're coming from with that.
Trust. That's another thing because of trust. Because we have seen what the medical field has done to us in the past and did with our ancestors or some of our forefathers, our grandfathers, great grandfathers. You can say not great grandfathers. Grandfather, yeah, grandfather, great grandfathers. Some of the stuff they was doing like in the early 1900s or the late
1800s.
1800s.
All through the 1800s.
So,
There's
so,
a book, a medical apartheid. You
so
should check that out.
let me read some of these notes that my assistant wrote for me. Grieving is a process. The grieving process can have a damaging effect long after a funeral. It can lead to depression and cause other psychological problems. Some research have suggested to link with others medical. Also, it suggests a link with other medical issues because you can eat yourself into a bed. A lot of times you've been depression, you're not eating healthy, which will cause different type of things to happen in your body, especially heart problems because it's people that can literally die of a broken heart because that person was so much that you can't live without that person. You know, one day I'm gonna find that love. You know, one day.
You better stop playing. I don't want you to come up missing.
You know what I mean? You know me holding a steak on my eye like,
Yeah,
oh, you playing?
I
Oh, you
ran
see,
into the door.
but we as a people, and I only say this, I mean in general, just as a people, don't know how to cope because our country doesn't teach us how. It is trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. So it's kind of like, when do you get a chance to breathe? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh yeah, I do. Like I said,
So,
and there's a design to that. You know what I'm saying? There's one trauma after the next keeps you from the whole process of grieving. You know, that's a grieving process that we don't get to go through because as soon as we start it, there's another trauma.
So it hurts. So we always hurting, and then that's why we always venting,
That's why we
not in a
seem
positive way.
that's why we seem angry all the time. It's because the whole process has been interrupted and we keep the trauma. And no, there's no we hadn't had any closure on anything. We're still pissed off about Martin Luther King being killed. You know what I'm saying? There's we're not gonna have any closure. We're pissed off about Malcolm X, uh, brother Avers, Akers.
Mega
And
epic.
we could go on and on and on. You know,
So
we
I know this is not a long podcast tonight. I know because you know we talk about a array of different things. But to anybody, please find somebody that find a friend. Because when I'm pissed, it's people that I will call that I know that's going to keep it real with me. But at the same time, if you have family that's loving and caring, don't be afraid to say I need to talk to somebody. I need some help.
right,
Don't be afraid to say that because that's don't be in denial that you got it all together when you don't,
right,
because it's going to lead to depression
right,
because you don't have all the answers. Like, like for instance, I can't tell somebody who lost a sibling how to deal with it because I haven't lost a sibling.
right,
You know, I can tell you how it feels, me losing a father or me losing my mom or me losing a grandparent, but
right,
you know, everybody has different avenues of what they can do. But if somebody is coming to you, just be open minded and just be there with open arms and willing to help them deal with it because eventually one day you're gonna need that too. So
true indeed.
so what else you want to add to this, brother Jerome?
Now, I think you was right on point with saying, you don't have to hold your emotions in. You can express it to someone uh, just so you can work it out within your own self. Um, I think a lot of times we think being strong is holding everything in, when being strong is having the ability to show somebody your weaknesses, um, to express what you think is weakness, but
Hmm.
it's really not weakness. It's just emotion. You know, it's not weak to cry when somebody dies. It means that you love them. And that you miss them. And that physical part of connection is not there anymore. You know, so I think we just get such a bad rap on emotions, uh, and the misunderstanding of what they are. Um, I think if we can clear those things up, we could have more productive relationships with each other.
I
And I'm
got you.
talking when I say with each other, I'm talking about as a community.
I feel you. I
That's
got
why
you.
we don't trust each other.
Boy, you hit that on it. I don't even know what to say after that one.
Yeah. Because we've been hurt by each other so much, and we hadn't dealt with the hurt, that's why we don't trust. It's hard to trust somebody else that looks like you. You know, when it's gonna take somebody that looks like you to get us to the next level.
it's another podcast that we can bring up because I'm about to say, is it designed to be that way? But
Of
I'm not.
course it
I know, but
is.
not part of what we're trying to tell people.
All right, say no more.
So, but we're gonna wrap this up. But this is another three-headed monster podcast. You see our email address. You can actually we have our own Twitter, which is a three-headed monster podcast. Um, we were just working on different things. I know this wasn't a super big topic, but it's actually an important topic that we're talking about. Um, again, um, anytime I'm on here talking to my brother, I'm good. This is therapy for me. That's another thing that a lot of people have to find. You have to find another avenue to be able to release whatever tension that you deal with. Um,
Right.
Sometimes, to actually, and drunk can attest to this, is me actually doing this is therapy for me
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm getting connected and I'm
Right.
talking, I'm communicating with somebody. So, it's my brother. So we already going to be on the same vibration. We're already going to be on the same frequency as
Right.
it is. Um, hey, this is how we do. So if y'all got any comments, any questions, any topics y'all want to do, throw something out there and watch what we do with it. Because we'll do our research. Trust me, we're gonna do our research. So go ahead and sign us out there, Draw.
All right. Well, like I said, once again, man, for us as a community, for you as an individual, reach out, get some help, go to therapy, talk to somebody, talk to a counselor. Um, don't let your emotions control you. They're not a place to stay. They're only a place to bring you revelation on what you need to do to change your life. Um, so just for me, I love all of y'all. I love my brother. I don't think we tell each other that enough.
Love you too, bro.
But another great show. We'll be back on again before you know it. Smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Let's get these algorithms going so we can get this podcast around the country, um,
Around the world.
around the world. You know, I heard the silverback is big in South Africa.
The majestic one.
The majestic one.
All right, y'all. This is a three-headed monster podcast. Peace and love, y'all.
Peace.